Hello everyone, this is Starman, and welcome back to Let's Play Under a Killing Moon. Well, last time you'll remember, we picked up the Colonel's trail and found a way into GRS, but I stopped the game at that point because this area coming up is the most annoying part of this game. There are many ways that we can die instantly and unfairly. So I wanted to take a moment to start that because this could take us a while to get through, even with me stopping and editing and cutting to allow for stuff happening. Because there is a security drone that roams the hallways of the area we're about to go into, and we obviously have to avoid said security drone. The problem is that while you can hide in rooms to avoid it, it will come in eventually. And while you can hide in those rooms, when you exit the room, there is a chance that the drone will be there, and there's very little relation between the timing of it circling the hallways and when it exits and enters the rooms. So you can be timing things out as best you think, still walk out into the hallway and die instantly. Now hopefully we'll avoid that happening, and I'm going to be doing a lot of saving just in case, more than I usually do when I film this, so be prepared for that. So with that being said, let us venture into GRS.
The GRS office complex is located in the heart of New San Francisco. Elena's passkey gets me into the lobby, which is empty. A directory shows Marcus Tucker's office on the 4th subterranean level. I take the elevator down. Before the doors open, I hear a warning.
Attention! Lethal security probe on premises.
And that is the probe directly across from us. It looks like a giant eyeball. And we do get to hear that grinding noise as it approaches, but it's a bad idea to rely on that. Okay, so we'll go into research and development first. Now we have about 2 minutes before it comes and inspects the room. Now, a clever way to avoid stuff is that you can dodge it a little bit by exiting and entering the room and not spending too long in any of them, but that's a bad way to explore. And you have to be sure to look under and over everything here as well.
What a cute little TV. I wish I'd found this little sucker a couple of hours ago. Now I've missed all the good soaps. Boy, whoever sat here was really good at tic-tac-toe.
I'm not going to look around here too much.
Consoles seem to be working, but they're inaccessible. I have no idea what these things do, and I'm not sure I want to know. He had computer consoles just like these on Lost in Space. As a matter of fact, I think these are the props.
Not a lot of decoration in here.
A team pennant. Paul must be a real baseball fan.
Now, thankfully, we do get some warning before the probe comes in, but if you're not standing in just the right
sat
spot,
here was really good at tic-tac-toe.
You can be extremely out of luck.
Judging by the stains in this mug, its owner was a standard bearer for the coffee generation.
And yeah, here's the desk of Paul Dubois. Stand up straight to look at these.
Nothing else left. Nothing else left.
And I don't think there's anything in his drawers.
Nothing else. Nothing else.
And I'm just going to go ahead and...
Warning. Security sweep will begin in 5 seconds.
Can I call it or what? But yes, we have to duck down and hide in the corner here, behind Paul's desk, behind the cubicle wall. And the neat little thing is that we do get 1 point for finding a place to hide in each room. Alright.
Looks like this computer requires a computer card to get access to it.
Well, how very fortunate.
Let's take a look at this thing. What do we have here? It's like a computer access card. It's like the TV has no reception capability. It's set up to run only when hooked to a Laserdisc player.
Ah, because there are many Laserdisc players in the future! No, seriously, there are.
Paul Dubois. This card must activate Paul Dubois' computer. This should give me some information.
Well, here's hoping.
I should turn on the computer first.
Duh.
Computer passcard required to access this computer.
Alright. Now we use the computer card on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Very nice, computer. Okay, personal file Paul Dubois. To whoever reads this, the information contained in this file was to be delivered by me to Colonel Dobbs. I have been collecting this information over the past 6 weeks. I'm now being watched, and I'll be able to get in touch with the Colonel. Whoever you are, please get this information to the Colonel. He's promised to take it to the authorities. So, Crusade for Genetic Purity. Soon after I was hired at GRS, I was asked to submit to a genetic scan. When I was found to have no genetic defects, I was invited to join the Crusade for Genetic Purity. I resisted initially, but accepted when I found that Eva Shaniz wanted to become a member. Eva is a project supervisor here at GRS. I admit I had romantic interest in Eva and thought it would be a good way to get to know her. A small group of people met in Marcus Tucker's office after work, and Eva and I were initiated. It didn't take long to realize that this group was not the Crusade for Genetic Purity. The members called themselves the Brotherhood of Purity, and there were dark rituals and readings of prophecy. Frankly, I was scared, but I was sure that there would be no way out once I was involved. It was Eva who told me to contact the Colonel about exposing the Brotherhood. Okay, the GRS project. The project we've been working on is being directed by Marcus Tucker with Eva Schnees, Faniel Murray, and Camden Leander as the project supervisors. Tucker has divided the project phases so only he knows everything that is going on. My part in the project has been to develop a specific artificial viral strain, which I've been told will be used in treating respiratory ailments such as bronchitis and asthma. At one time, there were at least 30 people working on the project. Now we're down to 8. I tried to contact some of the employees that left but couldn't. Today I found out what happened to them. Some of them were considered to be genetically suitable and had been sent to the Moonchild. The rest are dead. I accidentally found a recording made of an experiment, and the test subject was one of my former coworkers. I only saw a few moments of that experiment, but it was horrible. I'm sure that experiment involved the use of an airborne virus that was inhaled. It caused a violent death almost instantly. It's horrifying to think that my researches probably contributed to the virus that was being tested. The Moonchild. Those who've heard about the Moonchild have been told that it's a religious getaway for faithful members of the Crusade for Genetic Purity. I found out otherwise. It was constructed by the leader of the Brotherhood of Purity and is referred to as the Ark of Humanity. The only people allowed to go there are members of the Brotherhood, genetically pure humans. The Moonchild is gigantic and has been constructed to easily support thousands of people, along with all known forms of animal and plant life for several generations. The ultimate purpose behind the Moonchild is to provide a safe haven for the faithful while the Earth is undergoing its final purification. I don't know exactly what the purification entails, but I believe it's directly related to the experiments we've been doing at GRS. And that big blue thingy is Earth, I'm guessing. The big gray one is the moon, and the green one is obviously the Moonchild. Okay, initiation to the cult. When I was initiated, Marcus Tucker informed the others at the meeting of my genetic purity, then went on to give a short speech. This is what he said to the best of my recollection. The principles of the Brotherhood of Purity have existed for thousands of years, but the order itself was founded by the Docetists, I think that's how you say it, Docetists, in 300 AD. We know little about those who founded our order, only the truths that were left behind and passed down from one generation of the Brotherhood to the next. These truths are contained in an ancient text known as the Secret Doctrine. Throughout the ages, our power has lain in anonymity. We have quietly prepared for the day in which the Docetists' prophecies will be fulfilled and the genetically pure will inherit the earth. Many of history's greatest figures belong to the Brotherhood, but this fact does not appear in any history book. Each of these men, however, laid groundwork for the next generation. Each man's act is a single stone added to a massive structure. It has now been 1,000 generations since the foundation of the Brotherhood of Purity, and the time has come for the prophecies to be realized. All has been prepared with the exception of finding the ancient Haba, a powerful talisman forged of magical elements, being the vessel through which the Brotherhood's power is challenged. When we proclaim the Haba, we will journey to the Moonchild, the guardian of the faithful, and there we will celebrate the purification, the time when the earth will be cleansed of all genetic abominations. Then, after the waiting, we will return to a pure world and enter the glorious New Age. The Secret Doctrine. The Brotherhood follows the prophecies contained in an ancient text known as the Secret Doctrine. From what I have read, been told, and overheard, I've come up with a description of the Brotherhood's objectives. The Secret Doctrine tells of an entity called the Incubus, which the Brotherhood could summon when all the prophecies had come to pass. When I was initiated, I learned that only one prophecy had not yet been fulfilled. Having possession of something called the Haba, from what I could gather, the Haba is some kind of mystic statuette, which holds sacred powers. Once the Brotherhood found the Haba, the Incubus would then create a Moonchild. This Moonchild would be the destroyer of the genetically impure and the guardian of the pure and faithful. Another of the prophecies says that a great storm called the Great Alluvion will come from the skies and restore the impure. This process is referred to as the purification. I think the Brotherhood plans on accomplishing this by introducing an airborne virus into Earth's atmosphere. After the purification, in which all life on Earth is exterminated, comes the period of time known as the waiting. The prophecies say this will last for 2 generations. It was for the waiting that the Moonchild was constructed. After the waiting, the pure races aboard the Moonchild will return to Earth and begin the New Order. And finally, known history of the Brotherhood of Purity. The origins of the Brotherhood of Purity predate written history, so many of the details are lost. The Order started in the Far East among a small group of men whose concepts reached thousands of years into the future. While other, more primitive men were learning the uses of metal and stone, this Brotherhood was embracing the rudimentary principles of eugenics and ethnic cleansing. Eugenics in quotes there. The names and acts of the founders were passed down orally for hundreds of generations. The genealogy, philosophy, and icons of the Brotherhood, however, were not fully committed to paper until the 3rd century AD. A group of men, known to outsiders as the Docetists, composed an expansive tome attempting to summarize the history and doctrine of the ancient order. This text became known as the Secret Doctrine and was accepted as the official word of the Brotherhood. The Roman Empire. The Brotherhood of Purity grew steadily in power during the rise of the Roman Empire. Despite the enormous wealth and influence of the Brotherhood, its anonymity was preserved. The number of those who were initiated and received the teachings, signs, and passwords was kept to a bare minimum, ensuring complete dedication and fealty, as well as avoiding the delusion of quality, which inevitably comes with overpopulation. When the Roman Empire fell, the Brotherhood survived unscathed. In fact, it is speculated that the Order hastened its downfall for its own benefit. The Empire, grown obese and sedentary, was no longer conducive to the higher ideals of the Brotherhood of Purity. The members of the Order cast their eyes toward the fierce and hungry tribes of Anglos and Saxons, which were not as intellectually advanced as the Romans, but had not yet suffered the physical decline. The Middle Ages. Many of the kings in medieval Europe were members of the Secret Brotherhood. One was King Henry I, also known as Henry the Fowler. He ruled Britain around 900 AD and was considered a visionary by other members of the Order. He prophesied that a gigantic storm will appear from the eastern sky and will overwhelm the impure, and this was added to the Secret Doctrine. Other pivotal and powerful rulers of the Middle Ages were secretly affiliated with the Brotherhood of Purity, including Charles the Great, Henry the Lion, shouldn't that be Henry the Lion? No, it's Richard the Lion, or Henry the Lion, Otto the Great, Philip of Swabia, Conrad IV, and Frederick Barbarossa. While King Charlemagne was not deemed intellectually suitable for the Brotherhood, his closest advisor and confidant, Hugo von Toron, was a high-ranking member. His influence on Charlemagne drastically affected the course of Europe's and the world's history. Counted among the members of the Brotherhood were not only kings and statesmen, but also religious figures such as Basilius Valentinus, Bishop Klingzor, the Count of Acharea, and Ecbert of Marin, the 13th century Bishop of Bromberg. The Spanish Inquisition was instigated by a single radical member of the Brotherhood who held a high position in the papal order. It is commonly believed that the hundreds of thousands were put to death because they refused to join the Catholic Church, or the Catholic faith. That'll teach me to skip ahead. In actuality, these deaths were the result of an enormous ethnic cleansing. This was done, however, of the Brotherhood's own volition and was not an act of the Brotherhood. Splinter groups. Throughout the Middle Ages and into the 20th century, there were several branches which sprang from the Brotherhood. The Crusades were in part associated with one of these branches. Eventually, the main body was able to pair off the splinter groups, but not without great bloodshed and civil war. Most of these conflicts have been misinterpreted by history, indicating the extreme and far-reaching power of the Brotherhood of Purity. Adolf Hitler somehow obtained a manuscript of the secret doctrine and was heavily influenced by the principles of the Brotherhood, though he was never a part of the order. It took many years for the Brotherhood to undo the damage caused by this madman. Even in the years which have followed, the main core of the Brotherhood has had to deal with other mutated branches, some of which have grown to massive proportions before the influence of the Brotherhood could bring them under control. So even though these guys are a bunch of fascist Nazi douchebags, they're not actually Nazi douchebags. That was all on Hitler's own.
Warning. Security sweep will begin in 5 seconds.
So yeah, a bit of an info dump there. And we'll go ahead and save here. And you'll note that we no longer have the travel button option while the drone is about. Now there are 4 rooms in the complex, and I think once we get to all of them, we will be free to use the travel options to move between them. Okay. Now comes the tricky part. We have to run next door and hope that the drone isn't in the hallway. Haha, success. Okay, so now we're in the supervisor's office.
Unless some prankster swapped nameplates, this was Ava Shanzi's desk.
And
This type of safe requires a 6-digit code to open. If the people who worked here are anything like me, they would have written the code somewhere in case they forgot it.
well, I think most of the people here are a bit smarter than Tex, but that is a fair point. Let's see, if I were a deep cover agent, where would I hide information I needed to keep secret? Hello?
Whoa, what have we here? A computer access card. This computer card belonged to Ava Shanzi. Maybe I should just take a look at Ava's computer.
Maybe we should.
Wow, they had computer consoles just like this on Lost.
Yeah, a lot of the comments got recycled here, and
This door is locked electronically, and there's no way I can pick it.
well, thankfully there's a vent.
The air vent looks like it could be removed with a hex wrench. The opening isn't big enough for me to get through, though.
Ah, well, thankfully we found this on the floor. And while we can't get through there, remember our new little pet?
Poor little guy. He must have tripped something on the console, or maybe the old roast beef sandwich spontaneously combusted. At least he got the door open for me.
Let's see.
Looks like a mini disc. It's a memo. It says, memo to Marcus Tucker. This disc was confiscated from Ava Shanzi before she was imprisoned on the Moonchild. We are still searching her personal effects for any sign of the winter chip.
Oh, bad news for Eva, but at least...
Warning. Security sweep will begin in 5 seconds.
And bad news for us if we don't get out of here, thankfully. Wait for it. Wait for it. Okay. 2 for 2.
That button probably triggers the door. The consoles seem to be working, but they're inaccessible.
Okay. No drawers on that desk, but got some drawers here.
This looks like it might open one of... This laserdisc is titled, "So You're Starting a New Job at GRS," narrated by Marcus Tucker. This computer has a mini disk drive.
Computer passcard required to access this computer.
Alright, we'll use Eva's card on that one.
Thank you.
Now we can use the mini disc on this.
I've made initial contact with the cult. The Colonel's information was right on. There are at least 2 employees here that are members. I haven't been able to find a solid link between GRS and the cult, but I'm sure Tucker knows what's going on. Over the past month, I've been letting people know that I support the eugenics movement. Finally, I was contacted today by a cult member named Murray. He's a project supervisor. I'll be attending an initiating meeting tomorrow night. I've gotten to know one of the young researchers, Paul Dubois. I'm fairly sure he knows nothing about the cult. He told me that Tucker doesn't trust most of his staff and has the project groups working separately. 9 or 10 people came to the meeting in Tucker's office. The only ones I knew were Tucker, Murray, and Paul. I got the name of only one other cult member, a creepy little Nazi named Camden Leander. He seemed to be the highest ranking member. I didn't learn much. They seemed more concerned with grilling me and Paul. I don't think Paul is cut out for the cult. I think he's attended the meetings to get to know me. I've advised him to get out while he can. Also, there's a young woman named Elena Moore who works as Tucker's assistant. She doesn't seem to know what's going on here. I think she knows too much, and she'll probably be eliminated when the current project is finished. I've warned her to get out of the company. It looks like the project is almost completed. The cult members are ecstatic. I keep hearing them use the words purification and elusive. I don't know what they mean, but whatever's going to happen is going to happen soon. I'm not going to use a chip until I have a better idea of what they're up to. At our last meeting, there was an older man. He looked familiar, but I couldn't place him. Apparently, he's in charge. I noticed him staring at me during the meetings. Afterwards, he pulled me aside and said there would be a special place for me in the new order. I'm going to play along.
At least he didn't say I have a position in mind for you. So, yeah. Apparently, some high-placed head honcho took a liking to Eva. Can't say I blame him taking a look at her. But, yeah. I'll go ahead and save now before I dash into the hallway. That was close. Okay, as long as we're hiding behind the desk anyway. Let's see.
Oh, it's an electronic shop laserdisc player. Chintzy, but it looks like it works. There's no lock. Another Playbub magazine. Say what you will, but I love the articles.
Classy.
Hey, that's the creep that tried to pick me up in a bar a couple of months ago.
And yes, we are going to look at all these portraits just for the comedy of it.
Well, I hate my job. What I really want to do is sing and dance. Hey, a woman. Barbizon changed my life.
Harvey Dent.
I'm surprised this guy didn't pose with his favorite weapon. This picture speaks volumes of therapy. Well, this picture must have been taken at the company prom.
Yeah, he is wearing a tux.
Hey, isn't that the actor starring in Doogie Howser: The Next Generation?
It does look a little like Neil Patrick Harris.
And Papa Bear said, "Someone's been sleeping in my bed."
Heh.
Well, this must be the GRS patron saint of evil. My home movies would look great on that screen. There must be a remote control panel that controls this video screen. Maybe it's somewhere on the conference table. The cabinet doors are locked. Maybe there's something worth finding inside.
And this
Warning. Security sweep will begin in 5 seconds.
Yeah, in this game, if the cabinet is locked, there's always something worth having. And unfortunately, the only place to hide is right behind the desk. That wasn't 5 seconds just now. Alright. Do a quick little save just to mark the progress. I think we just might... No, I'm not going to jinx it.
I'll bet this guy wets himself every time someone takes his picture. Admit it, you can't tell I'm bald.
I'm not just a president, I'm also a client.
Pressures of the corporate world have obviously driven this man to irregularity.
Heh.
He'll sell no wine before it's time.
Yeah, Orson Welles reference.
Nepotism rears its ugly head.
Hello, what's this?
Hey, a key. Must open something here in the room.
Yeah, this is one of the more annoying pixel hunts. But we do have a key now. Cabinet door key.
Well, that's not gonna... Looks like a state-of-the-art VCR. Okay, it's turned on now.
Yeah, note that this game came out in 1994 when VCRs were still the dominant form of entertainment media projection.
What does this guy think he is, an action figure?
Just about. And this one hidden behind the painting, or hidden behind the plant.
Pretty sure I bought a used speeder from this guy.
Heh. And the one in the middle.
Kid tested, mother approved. Something tells me this guy slid all the way to the bottom of the corporate ladder.
Okay, but we have a VCR in case we need to play anything.
I'll bet this guy loves to be poked in the belly.
Warning. Security sweep will begin in 5 seconds.
This is probably the guy the whole office played practical jokes on.
Alright, I think we've done everything that we can here, so we've got one more room left to check. I'm going to go ahead and save here again, on the off chance that it is cycling around just outside again. Okay, use pass key on this locked door, and run in. This being the big boss's office.
This drawer got pretty thoroughly cleaned out. This drawer got pretty...
I think I selected that one
This
twice, didn't I? Wait.
An old piece of masking tape is stuck here. Looks like some numbers are printed on it. 142235. Probably doesn't mean a thing. Nothing in here but a few pencil shavings and some dust. You can always tell how important a person is by the number and quality of their mugs. I'm willing to bet that access to this computer is extremely unlikely. Looks like Tucker used the standard 3-chair office array. An old-fashioned red tip wouldn't match. My Zippo's out of fluid. Maybe I should keep this around for an emergency light.
What Zippo? I don't have a Zippo in my inventory.
This drawer got pretty...
Okay, well, there's a separate doorway here.
This panel must control access to the safe. Looks like it's a voice-activated ID system. My guess is that only Marcus Tucker's voice will work on this system.
2. Access the safe. Please prepare for voice ID verification. Please speak your name now. Voice ID verification. Sequence canceled.
It doesn't say sequence in there. But yes, this behind the plants is obviously where we have to hide.
Security sweep will begin in 5 seconds.
Yeah, did I time that or what? Secret gaming senses. Alright, and now... Okay, yeah, unfortunately it does not give me the option of going from room to room. That would be too easy. But thankfully, we do have a way of getting the security droid out of our hair once and for all. And how do we do that, you ask me? Well, let's take stock of what we've got.
It's like the TV has no reception capability. It's set up to run only when hooked to a Laserdisc player.
Hey, we just happen to have a Laserdisc player.
Useless to me unless it's hooked up to a TV. Oh, there's a scratch on the Laserdisc. I wonder if it still works.
Well, let's start combining some things around. We put the Laserdisc in the player. Put the television with the Laserdisc player.
Hello, I'm Marcus Tucker.
And yes, now we have a way of getting past that pesky voice lock.
Hello, I'm Marcus Tucker. Hello, I'm Marcus Tucker. Hello, I'm Marcus Tucker.
Stand by for DNA scan. DNA incompatible. Attention, security, intruder on premises.
Just walked right through that doorway. So yeah, we need to very quickly grab everything that is not nailed down, including a shredded note from here. And hopefully, when the droid shows up, it will not see us back here. And once it is in there, Alright, so let's look at what we've stolen.
Let's take a look at this Buddha. Whoops. So clumsy. Well, I'll be darned. This must be the winter chip. And it was right here under the cult's nose the whole time. This must be one of the winter chips the Colonel referred to.
Well, I'd feel much safer keeping this hidden. Luckily, our new watch is perfectly equipped for hiding this sort of thing.
That watch's secret compartment may be the safest place for me to hide the winter chip. Looks interesting, but I'll need to find a video cassette player.
Well, thankfully, we have one of those next door. But yep, that is sealed. So now we have the run of the place. No more annoying grinding in the hallways. So let's check this tape out first.
My home movies would look great on that screen. My home movies will...
Oh yeah, gotta turn on the control here.
This table's... some kind of remote...
Though not an effective way to infect the mass population, the viral powder combined with tobacco then inhaled is the quickest way to provoke death. Witness its effects on the traitor Paul Dubois. On a larger scale, the virus can be introduced into the upper atmosphere by means of dispenser satellites. With proper flight path alignment and a minimum of 100 dispensers, Earth's atmosphere could be thoroughly saturated within 12 hours. Once in the atmosphere, the viral molecules bond to condensing moisture and create a seeding effect. The ensuing rainstorms would bring the virus down to the planet's surface. As we have witnessed, the effect of the virus is almost instantaneous, and the entire fauna population of the Earth should expire within several days at most. While this method of extermination is thorough, its residual effects are significant. The atmosphere will continue to cycle the virus for years until natural decay and filtering cause the viral strain to become a negligible portion of the atmosphere. We estimate that this process will require a minimum of 30 years to complete.
So, in case it wasn't clear enough, the bastards running this operation are planning to kill everybody on the Earth and repopulate the planet with a bunch of other jerks at some point in the future. Well, I got one other bit of business to attend to. We do have a safe to crack. And thankfully, Marcus Tucker is the kind of idiot who leaves his passwords written down. Hey, and we have...
I wonder what's in that vial. It says cigarette viral powder.
Now, you have to wonder why they'd leave their, That's not a good sound.
Viral powder for cigarettes? A cigarette load is a classic practical joke, but this is ridiculous.
Well, I'd be willing to bet we could still mix them. Okay, lethal cigarette.
Ah, the world's most effective stop smoking method.
So we now have a poison cigarette, just in case we need it. We do have one other thing of note. This shredded note that was inside the vault. Now, I like you too much to make me watch, or make you watch me put this together. So we'll go ahead and do a quick little edit cut here, and I'll come back once this is put together. Again, you're welcome. Okay, yeah, this one is time-consuming, but not that difficult. Annoying, but not difficult. You start out with the top part spelling out Brother Marcus, and then from there you can either go with trying to match up the numbers, get the longitude and latitude coordinates here, or what I wound up doing was figuring out the whole thing about genetically suitable, and that let me piece together these parts, and then recognizing Shang-Chi's name right there also is a piece of the puzzle. So we've got it readable now, even if the whole thing isn't dragged together. So we have Brother Marcus, we are seekers of purity who will abide no defect in spirit or form. The time is close at hand. Your work was exemplary and adhered in every detail to the holy prophecies. Now that we have the sacred relic in our possession, our plans can be carried out. I regret that you had to eliminate Dubois. Alas, such is the folly of man. Shang-Chi is being held on the Moonchild and will pay dearly for her treachery. Also, as feared, Brother Faniel was not genetically suitable for our order and had to be retired. Now your instructions. Go to the Bastion of Sanctity, longitude 122.4711, latitude 41.28.6. Upon arriving, the Chameleon will provide transport, though he will not travel with you to the Moonchild just now, as he ever business to attend to before joining us. Godspeed, brother. That completes it. Now it's a symbol. I think I'll glue the pieces together so they won't move. So yeah, we have that now. And we know the day is complete because the only option it gives us is returning to Tex's office. But you know, since we managed to get through this without getting accidentally tagged by the drone at least once, I'm going to go ahead and save the game here. And I'm going to go ahead and reload where we started. And I'm going to show you what happens when you run right into the droid. My goodness, we got a lot of points. We got nearly as many points just running through this section as we have the whole rest of the game until now.
The GRS office complex is located in the heart of New San Francisco. Elena's passkey gets me into the lobby, which is empty. A directory shows Marcus Tucker's office on the 4th subterranean level. I take the elevator down. Before the doors open, I hear a warning.
Attention! Lethal security probe on premises.
And we'll just run right into that sucker.
Where am I? Is this a dream?
Not quite, Murphy. You are dead.
Dead? Wow. You're near the Big P.I. in the sky?
That's right, Murphy. But now is not the time for you to be here. Your life must be restored so that you may fulfill a higher purpose. There is a vast and malignant evil at work on the earth, and fate, for some reason that even I cannot fathom, has chosen you to oppose it.
But why me?
I'm no more thrilled about it than you are. Nevertheless, your fate has been decided. I will do what I can to help you make your way, but only you can fulfill your destiny. Now, go back and try not to get yourself killed again. You will know when the time is at hand. In case you've forgotten, the 4th rule of a P.I. is don't get caught. The security probe isn't as forgiving as I am. Try to move a little faster this time. If you get out of this alive, do me a favor and start getting some regular exercise. And it wouldn't hurt to lay off the smokes and booze for a while either.
Yeah, remember how James Earl Jones was in this game? Well, he plays the Big P.I. of the sky. And his whole purpose in this game is to admonish Tex every time he gets killed, no matter how randomly. So yes, the god of detectives, who is not any happier about you having to handle this than you are, allows you to go back, i.e. restore a save game, to get it done right this time. And he will give you some helpful advice on what to do to avoid getting killed in the same way in the future. Not exactly the greatest thing, but, there it is. And, it's James Earl Jones. Not a bad use of his time, I think. But, yeah, we managed to get through that whole section without messing up accidentally or randomly. So next time, we will go ahead and start with our successful escape from GRS. We'll see you then.